Hey.
What's up, y'all? Hey, we back. We got our front door in, as you can see behind us here. And today we're getting ready to install our front door. I went to the hardware store earlier this morning to pick up the door. Christina helped me to carry it up onto our porch and actually get it.
We got footage of that. Our kids got the footage for us.
This way.
So it's interesting footage, but it's footage.
Yeah.
So
What we have to do now is we have to set the door in place. Our framer, he kind of rough framed the area. And so what I'm doing now is I'm measuring. After I'm done measuring, we have some 2x4s. Show them the 2x4s. Show them this. So we got some 2x4s here and some over here.
with our food,
Yeah, with our food.
our lunch.
And we're gonna use those. We're gonna use those to shore up this side of the door here and this side of the door here. So our door is 63 inches, 63 and 3/4 of an inch, or 3/4 of an inch wide. This is sheathing. This is sheathing here, and so the sheathing isn't enough to secure the door, of course. But we're gonna add some studs to the sheathing so that the studs on each side measure 63 and 3/4 inch opening, and then we'll cut the remaining sheathing down to that stud, and then that should give us the opening we need, the rough opening for us to install the door. So first thing we want to do, we know that this door is 63 and 3/4 inches.
Yes.
So Christina's helping me remember that. And so first thing we want to do is measure our opening from here to here. And that's from stud to stud, because we want to make sure that our door is centered, within our opening. We don't want it too far off one side or the other side. So what we're doing is trying to find the center. And so we've already measured this.
I come hold it.
And let's see, at the top here we have 71 inches. So 71 inch opening at the top from stud to stud. Then we go down to the bottom and we measure, I got it.
Okay.
We measure the bottom here and we've got almost 71 here. We got 70 and 3/4 at the bottom. Okay. So 70 and 3/4 at the bottom, 71 inches at the top. So how do we get this door centered? Remember, our door is 63 and 3/4 of an inch. So 70 and 3/4 of an inch minus 63 and 3/4 of an inch leaves you with 7 inches. So since we want our door to be centered, we're going to take that 7 inches and divide it in half. That gives us 3.5 inches on each side from the stud to where we'll place our next stud. So we're going to measure 3.5 inches from the wall. So I take my measuring tape, I come up here, I find 3.5. There's 3.5 right there. Okay? Right there at that point is 3.5. I come over here to this side. I do the same thing. I find 3.5. This is about right there. At that point, that's 3.5. You see it here. I'm trying to get on there. It is 3.5. Something else that you'll notice, this here is called an anchor bolt. And anchor bolts go in to help hold the your seal or your mud seal, which is what this board is called, that comes in contact with your foundation. But these anchor bolts hold this mud seal down. Now, of course, you got the weight of the roof and everything else that's also pressing down and keeping that down. But before we, put a stud here and finish this off, we're going to go ahead and put these anchor bolts and screw this down. Then we'll have to cut our mud seal right here at this 3.5 inch. We'll cut our mud seal off here, and then the same thing for this side. We'll install our anchor bolt, and actually for this side, It looks like we might have to wind up cutting our anchor bolt because
Yeah, we'll need it out of
here's
the
3.5 inches here. We'll need it out of the way. We'll need this out of the way in order to put that in. Not a big deal here. Easy fix that we'll take care of with a saw. So just gives me another opportunity to use another power tool. All right. We have to do a little extra math on top, but not much. So we have 70 is our opening. 71 is our opening, and then our door is 63 3/4. So when you do the math and subtract those two, we come up with, I think it was 7 1/4 of an inch, 7.25 inches. So to take 7 1/4 of an inch, basically you're gonna have 3.5 and 3.5. That equals 7, and you're left with that 1/4. So what's half of 1/4? 1/8. So you take 1/8 and you add it back to the the 7. You add it back to the 3, and I'm laughing right now because Christina's giving me that math look right now. So we're gonna throw this up on the screen and just show y'all how these numbers work out. But what it came out to is we'll do 3
and 5/8.
And 5/8. Is that it? 3 and 5/8?
Mm-hmm.
What's it? 3.5. Yeah. Good job.
I remember some math.
She's on it, y'all. Yeah. So instead of doing 3.5, we're gonna go a little bit further than a half, which is the 5/8. So 3 and 5/8 from each side here. So I'm going to measure that and mark that now. Make sure I get it here. This is where it's been good to have the numbers
On the other side?
on the other side. So there's 3. There's my 5/8. It's the big one after the 5, so that'll be right here.
What's wrong?
Oh, I'm fine. 3. There's 5/8. It's upside down, but that's it.
Oh, I'm kind of in that knot.
Yeah. Zoom out a little bit. So in there. All right. So now that we have where we're going to line up our board on top, we're going to line up our board on the bottom. I actually got to go get a square so that we can make that line all the way across. So, all right. So here we go from, I guess, opening to opening, and I'm looking around for my level. So
You want me to go grab it?
To see how much, yeah. We've got our mark at the bottom. We've got our mark at the top. What I'm doing right now is just approximating where that will sit inside the wall here. And then I'm using my level. Come get close on this one. I'm using my level because what's most important is to make sure that the door is level. And you can see that bubble is right between the 2 level lines. And that's based on where it will sit with the 2 markings that we made. So we're still good with getting this door level. Our next step is to make a reference mark and then make the cut. So I like to cut it a little bit more than what we need, okay? And then if we need to shave off a little bit more, we can, but you never can add to a piece of wood. So, don't get in a rush. Take your time with this. And here we go.
He says he does not need me to hold anything.
Okay. So I wouldn't advise everyone to do this. If you're not used to working with lumber or that sort of thing, may not be the safest way to do it. So please don't follow my advice from a point of safety. This is for someone who has been around a skill saw, know how to use a skill saw. If you don't feel comfortable doing it this way, then set up your table. Make sure you watch your fingers. Those are important. One rule of thumb: make sure you set your blade depth to at least be as thick as the piece of wood that you're cutting. So basically, I'm using my speed square here, and it's going to act as my fence. I've got my line here, my reference line for my saw, and I'm going to squeeze my square up against the wood, and then my saw is going to ride along this makeshift fence, and it's going to cut it, and I'll get a straight cut across to the length that I want. So here we go. I'm just going to line my blade up. This is the first shot. Just like that. You got a good cut. Let's check the fit. Kind of hit it into place. So now you can see we've dry fit our stud. We've got it lined up here. On our mark, and then here at the bottom as well on our mark. They're both lined up. So the next thing to do is to secure it in place. For that, we're going to need our air compressor and our nail gun. Go. Now you see our board cradles in between there. Come around so you can show them. See, it fits over, and we can butt up to that line now, and also have our spot up here at the top. Now, one other thing we have to do is we need to go ahead and put the anchor bolt on here and tighten it down. So. Go to our mark here, and we can hammer that into place. Looks like once we trim that down, that's gonna fit perfectly because this side is already flush up against it. And over here on this side, once we trim this down, we should be good to go. Now before we set our door down into the rough opening that we have here, we need to remove the mud seal that's here in front of the door. I'm going to start on this side because we actually have an anchor bolt that's in our way that we'll have to cut down. So first I'm going to cut the mud seal and then I'll have access to the anchor bolt to cut it flush. You know what, with that actually being so close to that concrete, I'm actually going to switch over to my isolator, my multi-tool here. And there it is. It's kind of warm.
Ooh, smoking.
Yeah, I think that dulled the blade out on that one.
Oh, cutting the bolt.
Yeah. Like I might be hitting something. I have no idea what's down there. Right there. That's a staple. Yeah. It's a nail.
Wow, that was annoying.
We can still dry fit it before we get too permanent.
Okay.
But I think we're good. We finally got the door in the opening. It was a bit of work. We had to make a makeshift lever to lift the door up a bit so that we could slide it over the threshold and get it into place. It's now in place. We haven't secured it with any nails, but it's in there pretty good. What we're going to do now is take our level, and if we did everything right, this should be level. Pop our level up top. And you can see right there, it's right in the middle. So we're good, we're level. We're gonna come over here and check just to make sure that this is still level. And you can see right there, we're level. Do the same thing for this side. So once again, we're within the lines, we're level. We'll come here to the outside. Check again. We're close, but we're still level. And then over here on this side, check here, and we're good. We're level. So this door is just about set. Next thing to do is to drive in some screws through the door into the wood to secure it. We'll cover that. We'll countersink those holes, drill it all the way through, and then cover it with caulk. You'll never know the screws were there. All right, guys, here we are. We've got the door dry fitted into place, and it's a really snug fit, a good fit, exactly what we wanted. So there's our new board that we put in place here. If I follow that down, you can see from top to bottom, it's a pretty good fit. We've got a little bit up top here. There's Christina. And then we come over here to this side. Also, there's the other new board that we put in, along with, if you remember, we had to cut our V-groove right in there and tighten down that anchor bolt. So we've done all of that. We've got our board up, secured. I'm just gonna step back and marvel at this wonderful door. Wonderful job. And there it is, full scale. So you've got 3 lights up top. You have the side lights on one side and the other side. Those are safety glass as well. And they are privacy glass.
Hey, stay there. I want to see what it looks like when somebody walks up.
Yeah, so Christina's going to check right now. You can actually get an idea of how private the glass is. But right now it's about 5 p.m. in the afternoon here. We've got plenty of sunlight. She's up at the door now. And see, you can see a shadow, you can see her waving, that sort of thing. But she can't see me more than likely. Can you see me?
Nah, it's just like white.
Okay, and that's exactly what we want, y'all. Just to give you an idea, there's a hole here. So there's Christina. And then here's the privacy glass. And you see, you can't really see Christina anymore. All right. So the only thing left to do now is to actually secure this door, because right now it's just dry fitted in. We put some sealant along the bottom. You can see there some caulk to really set it in place with some liquid nails. And now we need to drill and countersink some holes down this side and this side. We got some long screws that are gonna attach right to those studs that we introduced to this wall. So let's go do that. All right, y'all, we're back on the outside now. I wanted to show you what the front door looks like now that it's dry fitted into place. We're gonna frame it in, well, not frame it in, but secure it. Right now it's loose. It's just sitting up here by its own weight. What we have to do to secure it, we have to drill screws in here, through here, and into the stud to secure this into place. And we'll do that on both sides over here as well, you know, into the stud. And once we do that, this door will be solid. It can't be moved. So let's get to it. All right, so we just unscrewed the bolt here and the bolt here. Now it's time to open the door for the first time. There we go, people.